Hi, my name is Morgan Holloway, and my project is over ancient Roman funeral rituals. Now, the time period I'm going to be discussing is between 753 BC and 476 AD, and that covers the Roman Republic and the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire was by far the largest that Rome ever got and the longest time period in Roman history. And in this time, between 451 and 450 BC, there was a set of laws made called the Laws of the 12 Tables. It consisted of many laws that covered everything from daily life to how they would do trials, all the way to sacred laws. This table of laws was composed by a commission of 10 and then 12 men, and we do not know their names. The importance of Roman history and why we should know it is because the Roman Empire was the beginning of many of our traditions, including those laws that I talked about on the other slide. Many Roman traditions changed with the influence of Christianity. They had their own way of doing things before Christianity was introduced, and once Christianity became the state religion, when it became the state religion, everything changed with it. Some of their rules, some of their regulations, the way they did things, because before Christianity, cremation was the main way of disposal. But once Christianity came along with the belief of resurrection, cremation was a little more looked down upon, and so they switched over to burials. They also created laws to bring respect to corpses. Molesting a corpse was illegal, really looked down upon, and a proper burial was required for everyone. And they defined a proper burial as at least 3 handfuls of dirt over the body. These laws were the basis for our respect towards the dead today, and it's a good thing that they've been kept around. Of course, they've been changed a little bit, but the same idea is still there. Important people. There's not a lot of names given since this was so long ago, and so many documents have either been burned or lost or have yet to be translated or translated correctly. So we're still missing a lot of information from the Roman time, but we do know that Sulla was the first of the gens Cornelia to request to be cremated in order to avoid the abuse after death. The reason he wanted to do this was because after a big battle, his opponent had killed many of his men, so as revenge, he dug up his corpse and tossed it in the river, and he was afraid that the same would be done to him, so he requested to be cremated. And just a clarification of what gens Cornelia is, gens Cornelia means Cornelia is the family name. Gens is kind of just stating that it's the family name. And then another group of important people, which we don't know the names of, sadly, is the 12 men who made the Tablet of Laws. The reason we should understand Roman history was because Rome was around for the beginning of Christianity, and Christianity is still around today, and we still have a lot of the same traditions and still follow some of the same rules and go by the same stuff that they did back then, because Christianity has not changed much. And they made very sensible laws regarding the cleanliness of the city and its corpses early on. They made a law in the 12 tables that no one was allowed to be burned or buried within the city limits. And that was to keep the city being clean and not have any pollution from that. And so we kept that same idea. We changed it a little, but the same idea of keeping the cleanliness. and it's one of our founding societies. It was thousands of years ago, and they had very advanced technology and had very good rules. And so we still keep a lot of that today. A lot of our language comes from that, comes from Rome. And so we need to be aware of the things that they have accomplished in the past. The way it changed the industry, I would say there's no major impact because Rome did not create Christianity. Rome did not create embalming. It did not create burial. It did not create cremation. And it was so long ago that a lot of the traditions that they did have, such as wearing a mask for the dead and that resembled the dead, it was very realistic. We don't do that anymore. They also used to give a burial site constant attention to avoid bad spirits. Things like that we don't really do anymore. So I would say there hasn't been a drastic change because of the Roman Empire. However, it did influence us in small ways, such as our laws and our respect towards corpses. And these are my citations. Well, thank you. I hope you learned a lot. Okay.